You don't have time to dally about here. Diablo awaits you in hell. Remember, Diablo's greatest weapon against you is terror. Don't give in to your fears. Resist his power and put an end to him for good.
This is the story of Terror's End and the quest's original appearance in Diablo 2. After destroying Mephisto's soulstone with the Hellforge hammer and with it the smith Hephasto, we are ready to enter Terror's lair. Seeking guidance at the Pandemonium Fortress once more, it's then that the Archangel of Justice, Tyrael, reveals,
Time has come to hunt down and destroy Diablo himself. But beware. The Lord of Terror is not to be underestimated. He single-handedly destroyed the town of Tristram and corrupted the last noble hero who tried to stop him. This time, you must defeat him for good. Only by destroying the Soul Stone which he carries will his spirit be banished forever. Good luck, though this be our darkest hour. It may yet be your greatest moment.
It's then our darkest fears are realized. All of the previous heroes who valiantly stood in the light and opposed the burning hells were struck down and twisted to bend to the will of the Lord of Terror himself. As a holy paladin of virtue, we can think of no worse fate. Turning to the grim face of the Herodric scholar Deckard Cain, he too echoes Tyrael's sentiment, urging,
Can you believe this place? Did you ever dare to dream that you'd one day stand upon the crossroads between heaven and hell? This Pandemonium Fortress is truly miraculous. However, your journey is not yet over. Diablo still roams free in hell, marshalling his demonic forces. Only when he is beaten will our world finally have peace. Hurry now! The sands of time slow for no one.
It's at the behest of Cain we head once more into the particularly scorching bowel of hell, known as the River of Flame, and once more crossing past the 2 rows of armored guardians ever watching our movements, we see the angel Hadriel guarding its entrance, who warns,
Proceed, hero, into Terror's lair. Know that Diablo's innermost sanctum is hidden by 5 seals. Only by opening each of these seals can you clear your way to the final battle.
As we enter Diablo's domain, we're inevitably met with swarms of his minions, hell-bent on blocking our way to the 5 seals in which Diablo's innermost sanctum is fortified by. The ground becomes thin and more treacherous as the River of Flame creeps up to only allow slivers of safe platform beneath foot, and undead wraiths attempt to strangle out our remaining life and will to push on. After battling through the scores of undead knights and their ill, we finally find the steps leading to the Chaos Sanctuary, guarded by a gaggle of stormcasters swarming us at its entrance. It's then we take in the dark, gothic, almost church-like gateway, and we cannot help but be reminded of Tristram's own unholy cathedral. However, this church is cruelly lit by surrounding lava and guarded by, again, the dreaded armored knights, as well as a few live Doom Knights who have come to see which mortal is foolish enough to come knocking on Hell's door. As we enter the cathedral, we are peppered by spells of Doom and Oblivion Knights who nearly drop us where we stand, to become just another skull on their pile in their unholy den. We cut a path through the hordes of demons and come into a larger room in the cathedral with a massive pentagram on the floor. The unholy power is almost overwhelming, and the points themselves seem to represent the 5 seals. Battling further through wretched Oblivion Knights and Venom Lord demons, we happen upon the first seal. Opening it releases a glyph with a pack of wraiths, draining our health and magics, and a super unique leading the charge, the fire-enchanted Grand Vizier of Chaos. However, we pass this first obstacle somewhat with ease, but we know deep down the rest will not be so forgiving. It's then we open the second seal, and yet curiously, the glyph appears and there is no resistance. Upon searching for the third seal in the northwest corner, we're set upon by more wraiths and Oblivion Knights with their foul magics, curses to slow us, and ghastly apparitions that hunt us down while we fervently dodge their homing attacks. After clearing the northern tip, we find and unlock the third seal, this time guarded by a group of enchanted Oblivion Knights. It's said of these undead fighters that they are to be souls of the most ruthless and corrupt mortal warriors to die in the Sin War. Often they would come to reside in hell. Forged in the fires of eternal punishment, some of these spirits are reborn as cruel shadows of their former glory, clad in demon-forged armor and wielding arcane weapons of destruction. They roam the gateway to hell in search of those who would invade their sinister domain, and their leader appears, called Lord Decise. The undead mages, like their brutish counterparts, are minions of hell that are comprised also of the most mendacious and merciless sorcerers and necromancers slain in the Mage Clan Wars. Their thirst for power has followed them to the grave and was easily manipulated by the prime evils when creating these dark mages. Also wielding the same powers in hell as they did in the mortal realm, it's easy to see how they pose a fatal threat to even the most experienced adventurer. Like the Lord of Terror himself, all of his minions seem to be once great warriors who have been twisted and corrupted by hell itself. In the southeast corner, we find the fourth and fifth seals, and after felling more Doom Lords, we find a wicked flail called the General's Tan Do Li Gar. With enhanced damage, attack speed, it also slows targets by 50% and boasting 5% mana stolen per hit, like Kalim's will. This flail, no doubt, will be an invaluable aid in the fight against the prime evils. As we unlock the fifth and final seal, we step back towards the open hall, but are pounced upon by huge demon lords that are faster than any demon we've met. Their size belies their true speed, as we just squeeze through the pack of attacks of steel and fire, racing into the open ground lest we be cornered again. We then realize they're empowered by their gargantuan blue-skinned leader, known as the Infector of Souls. And while we try to filter the demons, more flank us as we are unwittingly backtracking into an ambush. We continue to push to face them one by one, nearly diving into the safety of a town portal, but instead we turn heel to face the Infector and tear the skin off his hide with our biting flails, slowing aid. As he falls, it seems the cathedral is aware of the last of the Seal's guardians perishing, beginning to shake as we hear an ominous voice that could only be possessed by the Lord of Terror.
Not even death can save you from me.
And the great, huge red demon bounds towards us at full pelt, taking a single swipe at us as we barely sidestep his huge claw. Turning to us, he spews hoses of red destructive lightning, and we race back around the pentagram, barely able to compose ourselves after witnessing the ferocity. And as we clash with the demon, we sense something else. It's the soul of the warrior Aiden. It's faint, but we can feel his anguish. And as metal meets tooth and claw, we seem to get brief glimpses of his sorrow and sacrifice. We first see his imbuing of the Lord of Hatred stone into his own head and feel his pain rip through us, and experience his descent from a proud warrior to a husk of a man that could barely carry his own sword, and then becomes all but consumed by terror itself. As we are overcome with despair at the warrior's fate and fears of our own shared destiny begin to cloud our mind, we see a flicker of satisfaction from the beast before us and comprehend this is but a dark and terrible ruse. Deckard Cain had previously warned Diablo knows our fears, and we nearly fell prey to him for revealing them so easily, as our own greatest fear is to succeed in felling Diablo and succumb to the same fate as the warrior. But so too did Tyrael see our victory, and we rally our attacks again with might and zeal, as if bolstered by the heavens themselves, with a volley of attacks that visibly make Diablo bristle. Diablo, with his ruse cast aside, begins his final physical assault. first summoning a firestorm from underfoot as we're forced to race backwards lest we become engulfed in the flame. And as we turn to face him, he spews a wicked arc of red lightning in a hose that licks at our heels. Breaching the gap, we in turn are hit with a fire nova ring as the brawl becomes steel and claw. As he swipes at us, our new flail works in rapid succession, slowing the Lord of Terror while biting him with poison in a fantastic flurry. Desperate and slow, Diablo switches gears back into his devastating red lightning, which would have killed us in one arc if we hadn't anticipated it. We dart backwards, and as he raises his hand in a final gesture of raising all of the hellish fire he can muster, we finally finish the foul fiend and we proclaim,
"Let Diablo's death end the reign of the three."
We feel the presence of the warrior Aiden once more, free of his fleshy prison, and we pray his soul knows the rest he undoubtedly deserves. It's then our quest log updates confirming we have brought terror to an end. On Diablo's body, we find a few items, but most notably the unique plate mail bone flesh. Coloured in a golden hue, it is far superior to our own plate, boasting an outstanding 246 defense, plus 35% attack rating, 5% life stolen per hit, which will go nicely with our zeal-laden flail attacks, and the fact our flail steals mana, and 25% open wounds. Plus, it's a handsome match to our golden helm, as if divine providence for our noble deed. With the items in hand and weary of the smell of sulfur, we head back to the pentagram in which Diablo was summoned and ourselves teleport back to the Pandemonium Fortress once more. It's there we see a relieved Deckard Cain who says,
Good to see you. I knew there was great potential in you, my friend. You've done a fantastic job. Though my ancestors often struggled against the three evils and their minions, I've always lived a shut-in, scholarly life. I'm glad that my wisdom aided you. Now, I wish to leave this place. Though heaven's gates are a marvel to behold, I hope I won't have to see them again for many, many years. Please, talk to Tyrael about leaving this place now.
We too hope Cain has many years of peace ahead of him, and tales of the Lord of Terror will be but a memory he can share with friends and family by a nice warm fire that he too has earned. As then we turn to the motionless angel Tyrael, who praises,
Praise be to the light. You have accomplished the impossible. Diablo and Mephisto have been banished back into the black abyss that spawned them, and the corrupted soul stones are no more. However, while you were fighting here, Baal remained behind in the mortal realm, building an army of hellish minions. Now Baal's army is searching for the World Stone, the ancient source of all the soul stones and their power, while leaving behind a wake of destruction. They have forged deeply into the barbarian homelands, heading directly for the summit of Mount Ariyat. Baal knows, mortal hero. That is the very site of the blessed World Stone. Now, enter the portal I have opened for you. It will take you to the barbarian city of Harrogath, the last bastion of order on the slopes of Ariyat.
Baal, the Lord of Destruction. They say there's no rest for the wicked, and he has been a busy boy. But so have we, and while we feel this is a net victory for the light, which honestly we never dared to believe was possible, our task is yet to be completed. We ready ourselves once more, bidding farewell to the gates of heaven, and step through the red portal to the barbarian homeland of Mount Ariyat, where no doubt Baal and his minions await our arrival.